You whited out. If you grew up with a Game Boy or a DS in your hands, you know that screen. It's that hollow feeling when your last Pokemon's HP hits 0. That low-pitched sound plays and the screen just fades. I remember very vividly being a kid, sitting there with my Game Boy, and nearly being in tears of pure frustration. Why? Because Whitney's Miltank in Pokemon Gold and Silver just used Rollout for the 5th time in a row and flattened my entire childhood.
Miltank, use Rollout attack! What's wrong?
But have you ever really thought about the words the game chooses in that moment? It doesn't say game over. It doesn't tell you that you're a failure or that you should probably find a different hobby just because a pixelated cow just embarrassed you. No, it says you whited out. And then you wake up in the Pokémon Center. No lecture, no penalty, no shame. For a game we all started playing when we were kids, that's a surprisingly calm way to handle a loss. And honestly, I think that loop stayed with us more than we realized. Think about the world of Pokemon. In most games, game over means you lost progress. You have to go back to a save point from 20 minutes ago, but in Pokemon, you keep your badges, you keep your catches, and you lose a little bit of pocket money, and you get a free heal, and you keep moving on. I think about the battle with Cynthia in Diamond and Pearl. It wasn't just one fight for me, it was battles, plural. I remember hitting that wall over and over, trying to find a single weak spot in her team and coming up empty. But the game never told me to stop. It just waited for me to come back. It's the same with Ash Ketchum. We all joke about him, but think about the resilience that that kid had. He spent 25 years losing. He treated losing as data, not a judgment. It was always heal up, fix the team, and try again. But let's be real. Not every loss in Pokemon was calm. We all lived through the actual nightmare. You're deep into a session, you're caught something that's rare, you finally beat a gym leader, and you realize you haven't saved in 2 hours. And suddenly you see it, that little red power light on the side of the Game Boy, and it starts to dim. The screen flickers and goes black because the batteries finally gave out. That is the kind of frustration that makes you want to put the game in a drawer and never touch it again. Somewhere between those dead batteries and real life, we started taking every setback that personally. I've felt this with RetroGameTCG. There have been dry spells where the sales just aren't coming in, or those days where I get a string of messages from buyers saying something went wrong. In those moments, I get frustrated with myself. I start wondering, is this even worth continuing? Am I actually good at this, or did the batteries just die on me? When we hit those moments, we usually fall into a trap called tilting. See, the term comes from pinball. If you shake the machine too hard out of frustration, the whole thing locks up and says tilt. In our world, that's the emotional state where you're so annoyed by a loss or a dry spell that you start making bad decisions. You tilt buy a bunch of expensive packs just to try and feel a win. You tilt list a card for too cheap just to get a quick sale. You start chasing the hits or chasing validation because you're trying so hard to buy your way out of that whiteout feeling. But the core of Pokemon was never about having a 100% win rate. It was about the loop. You see, when I'm in that spot where I'm tilting or looking at a quiet storefront and I just want to quit, I have to remind myself of how a Pokemon Center actually works. See, the game doesn't just heal your Pokemon, it forces a transition. When you white out, you're physically moved away from the threat. In real life, we usually do the opposite. We stay in the battle, we sit at our desk staring at the low numbers, and we try to trudge on. My first strategy now is force the transition. If I'm overwhelmed, I just have to walk away. I have to put the phone in another room. You can't see the solution when you're still blinded by the frustration. And then you gotta heal. You see, Nurse Joy doesn't judge you. Sometimes the most productive thing I can do for RetroGameTCG is to sleep, eat, and stop thinking about cards for a night. You need that base level reset before you can be creative again. But the real magic happens at the PC. In the game, you check the PC and ask, what actually happened? Was I under leveled? When my sales were down, I didn't just ignore it. I used that forced break to look at my packing materials. I looked at how I was conditioning my cards. I realized that the loss wasn't a sign to quit. It was just the game telling me that my current build needed an upgrade. Losing doesn't mean stop. It means adjust. When you white out, you don't delete your save. You don't release your Charizard because he lost a fight. Unless you're doing some sort of self-imposed Nuzlocke run, then by all means, do you. For the rest of us, you take a second, you rethink your team, and if the team is solid but you still lost, you do what every great trainer does. You head back into the tall grass. You take that same team and you train them a little longer. You refine their skills. You put in the work to level up so that when you walk back through those gym doors, you aren't just trying again, you're trying better. That's the loop. Heal, train, level up, go again. It's a cycle of growth, not a cycle of failure. So, if you're feeling a bit down today, remember this. You didn't fail, you just whited out. And the best part, you're still a trainer. Maybe that's why this game stays with us for 30 years. It quietly taught us how to lose without ever giving up. I really want to hear from you on this one. Have you ever had a dead battery moment in your real life? Or maybe there's a gym leader that still haunts your dreams. Drop a comment below. I'm trying to build a real community here, and your stories help more than you think. If this video helped you rethink a setback, hitting the like button and subscribing helps me reach more trainers who might be feeling the same way. And hey, if you think I missed the mark or I need to level up my own strategy here, honestly, hit the dislike button. Just let me know in the comments why so I can go back into the tall grass and get better for the next one. Until then, go heal up and stay in the game. I'm JB. This is RetroGameTCG. I'll see you in the next one.